Hello everyone, welcome back to Rhythm in English YouTube channel. Myself Shatakshi, and today I am present in front of you all with yet another new poem, Nine Gold Medals, written by David Roth. Starting with the introduction of the poet, David Roth was none other than, or is rather, an American rock vocalist, songwriter, actor, author, and radio personality. He is the lead singer of the famous hard rock band Van Halen and is also a successful soloist. This poem, Nine Gold Medals, is rather a lyrics of his famous song, and here it is depicted in the form of a poem. So, the overall theme of this poem is compassion, cooperation, and true sportsmanship. The poet believes that winning is not only about myself, or it's not only about winning the trophy and winning the prizes, it's also to win someone's heart with compassion and cooperation. Helping each other leads to integrity, and integrity leads to joy, and ultimately we win in the competition and different wars of our lives. Let's start. The athletes had come from so many countries to run for the gold, for the silver, and the bronze. Many weeks and months in training, all building up to the games. In the first stanza, we can see that the athletes have come from different corners of countries and they have run for the gold, silver, and bronze medals because they have trained themselves so hard and they are trying to achieve whatever they are wishing for. All round the field, spectators were gathered, cheering on all the young women and men. Then the final event of the day was approaching, the last race about to begin. So we can see the scenario of a particular Olympics ground. Now, in this point, I need to tell you that this particular poem is set on the event of Special Olympics, which is also known as Paralympics, in which differently abled contestants set off for a race. So, these 9 gold medals irrespectively has been written for those 9 differently abled people. They are perfect and they are trained in different sorts of games and they will all run a 100-meter race. And in this plot, we can see that the differently abled people can also achieve something. They have their ambition and they have their passion of winning the race, and they have taken part in the Special Olympics. Friends, Olympics is not a game of like winking your eyes. It's really hard for us, the normal people, to achieve it too. It takes place in the interval of 4 years as of our normal Olympics, and the same goes to this Paralympics too. So in this case, the contestants have to train hard, have to know their capacity a lot, and they need to build up for that games. So, and they moreover they are differently abled, so they need special guidance and they need special trainers too. So they have toiled day and night, they have toiled so hard that they are thinking of winning the games and they are really wishing hard to achieve the gold, bronze, as well as the silver medals. And so, here, all around the field, we can see the spectators have gathered, cheering them up, cheering their spirits to run the race. They are helping their moods to cheer up, and they can feel that they exist and they do participate in these types of competitions and they can win their existence. The loudspeakers called out the names of the runners, the 100 meters the race to be run, and 9 young athletes stood there determined and poised for the sound of the gun. As usual in the field, we all know that the loudspeakers, they just announce that the race is just about to begin. So the main strata or the main topic of the day was the 100 meters race had to be run and they need to win it at any cost. There were total 9 athletes and they have gathered there for several particular wishes. They have their own ambitions and they want to do for their country, that yeah, we also can do something, we can achieve something for our country, and we can make our people proud of us. So they are stand there determined, and they're just curiously waiting for the sound of the gun, and as soon as the gun will be fired, they will start to run. The signal was given, the pistol exploded, and so did the runners on hearing the sound. But the youngest among them stumbled and staggered, and he fell on his knees to the ground. So, as soon as the fire was burnt and the gun was fired, they started to run. But what happened to the youngest athlete? He just fell down, he stumbled and staggered. He tripped over the stones and he started limping and he couldn't run and just fell down on his knees. He gave out a cry of frustration and anguish. His dreams and his efforts dashed in the dirt. But as sure as I'm standing here telling the story, now it's a strange one, but here's what occurred. It's really very, very known to us that whenever we fail, whenever we can't accomplish what we were supposed to do, we feel really frustrated and we don't know what to do next. We are really depressed and we think that everything has been ruined, everything has been destroyed, and we can't see the farther path. The same thing happened with the young athlete too. He had trained himself so hard. He had dreamt of his success. He had dreamt of winning the medal. But everything was smashed to the dirt as soon as he fell on his knees and couldn't run the race. But the poet here is hopeful, is ambitious that the strangest thing on the earth is going to happen now. So, what's the strangest thing? Let's find out. The 8 other athletes stopped in their tracks, the ones who had trained for so long to compete. One by one, they turned round and came back to help him and lifted the lad to his feet. Here, in this particular stanza, we can see the sight of cooperation and brotherhood. The 8 other athletes could never think of the young athlete and they could complete the race and win the medals, but they didn't do so. Why? Because they had their hearts made of pure love. They had the compassion for the young athlete and they could understand the trauma and they could understand the situation of that boy who had such a big ambition of winning the medal, couldn't even run a step. So, how they could win, leaving him behind? So, they stopped on their tracks and they forgot all their ego and all their ambitions and they just got to help the boy, to help him to stand up. So this was the biggest hand of brotherhood and the compassion shown here through this poem, which is the need of the hour. Then all 9 runners joined hands and continued. The 100 meters reduced to a walk, and the banner above that said Special Olympics couldn't have been nearer the mark. So what happened next? They just joined their hands and started to walk. The 100 meters race just reduced to a walk. So when we work together, when we live together, when we live for each other, many disasters and a lot of hazardous strokes of our life become as easy as water. We need to tend ourselves, we need to understand the situations of others, and then we can live our lives peacefully. And here, the 9 athletes did the same for each other. They knew each other, they were compassionate to each other, and so they all worked together. And the Special Olympics, the banner, the winning banner, was a few steps away. That's how the race ended with 9 gold medals. They came to the finish line holding hands still, and the banner above and the 9 smiling faces said more than these words ever will, said more than these words ever will. So, how did the race end? It ended with the 9 gold medals. They all won the match. They all cracked their ambitions and they all made their countries proud of themselves. So, if the 8 athletes could have themselves achieved the joy, do we have the same feeling right now that we have? No, we wouldn't have it because we would be sorrowful towards the young lad. So the 8 people could have been selfish, but they didn't. Why? because this is the message of compassion, and this is the spirit of love that can melt anyone. So we need to be compassionate to each other so that we can win the 9 gold medals like them. And so they holded their hands till the finishing line, and they all have those 9 smiling faces, and the happiness and the joy that they had can never be expressed in these words, are more than these words ever will. So this was all about the poem The 9 Gold Medals. I hope that you have enjoyed the video and learned a great thing. So spread love and spread compassion. Thank you. See you in the next video.